Hey guys, welcome to the Muscle Geek website. My name is Ryan, the Muscle Geek, and I will be taking you through this webinar today. So this webinar is all about fat loss, and in this webinar we'll be talking you through the physiological processes that come with fat loss, the ways of measuring it, and help you navigate through all the nitty-gritty to help you have a better understanding of how you can achieve your goals. First things first, the sciencey stuff. Let's get this stuff out of the way. So here's what happens. First of all, we enter a calorie deficit, so which is classes as burning more calories than you're putting in. Then the metabolic processes within the body happens regarding body fat storage, which then lead to fat loss. The next one, and probably one of the most important aspects regarding fat loss, is calorie calculation. This is how it's done. So we start off with your BMR, so your basal metabolic rate. Now the basal metabolic rate, BMR, is how many calories your body needs per day just to survive. That is all the physiological processes within your body, your organs, your muscles, everything. Next, we have your total daily energy expenditure. Now, what this means is how much you are expending per day out of your basal metabolic rate. So not the calories you're burning that your body needs to survive, the calories you're burning just to walk around, just to get up the stairs, just to do your job, and so on and so on. From knowing your total calories, we can then decide to take away around 100 to 200 calories of that. That will give us a nice little deficit to work on, and that we can build on if we need to in the future. Remember, if you have more calories taken away, you have more of a deficit. Ultimately, it will all depend on the calorie deficit. Now, there's numerous ways of tracking weight loss. First, you have the scales. Then you have pictures, skin fold calipers, and tape measure. So these are the generic ways of how we can track weight loss. Now, the scales come with a lot of pros and cons, like all of them. A lot of people tend to become emotionally attached to the number that is on the scale instead of using it as a way to track data. What we want from the scale is to make sure the numbers are going towards a specific trend, and that trend when we're doing weight loss or fat loss is this way. When we're trying to gain weight, it's obviously this way. It is not a linear graph, so the weight won't come straight down. It's going to come up, down, but ultimately the trend will go this way, which is what we're looking at. Now, people tend to get disheartened and lack motivation when they see the number come up, even though they don't take other things into account. Remember, scales will only look at the total amount of weight you have on your person at that time. The next one, pictures. Now, the issue with pictures is you see yourself every day. So unless it's a humongous change, you're not going to notice a difference. I regularly suggest to my clients that we take pictures around 6 weeks. What we can start to see over the course of, say, a 3-month period is that there will be humongous changes between each block of pictures being taken. The next is skin fold calipers. Skin fold calipers are usually used in gyms. Personal trainers will use them at the start of maybe an induction and stuff like that. They are a way of testing what's called your subcutaneous body fat levels, and they also measure your water retention at that period, which is why you need to take them with a pinch of salt. Although skin fold calipers give us a bit more of an idea of the subcutaneous fat we have in certain areas, it isn't exact. None of these methods are exact. We use them as a way to track data, which will then give us enough to make sure we're going in the right direction to help us achieve what we want to achieve. Final one, tape measure. Some of you guys will be measuring around your hips, around your legs, around your arms, especially for the guys, to make sure we are going again in the right direction. These also need to be taken with a pinch of salt. You will never hit the exact part of the body part every single time you measure. these little changes within each measurement will make a huge difference between if you look to have lost 3 inches or if you look to have gained 3 or 5 inches. If you look at your midsection, for example, if you look at how wide your hips are compared to, say, an inch above where it's coming up to your waist and it's slightly smaller or slightly in a bit more, there will be a huge difference on the measuring from the tape. This is where you need to take it with a pinch of salt again and just write the numbers down just to make sure you're following the same trend. Remember, don't get caught up in the way you track. Use it as a way of collecting data so you can make sure, I will say it again, you're going in the right direction. Ultimately, what matters most is that you find a method that you can stick to consistently and that you don't mind doing. A lot of people don't really want to be taking measurements every day. Other people don't really want their skin being pinched every day. That's why the top two are usually the most common when it comes to tracking fat loss. Okay, so the next slide will be slow fat loss or weight loss versus fast fat loss and weight loss. Slow weight loss comes with its own pros and cons. Pros is far more social, so you are able to go to those meals out and have a bit more freedom with what you want to eat. You're able to have a bit more variety with the food you're having because you have more calories to play with. It's also easier to stay consistent because the calories aren't so low. Your hunger levels may not be as high. It can also help maintain performance. When you're in a fat loss or when you're in a calorie deficit, performance will start to go down because your body hasn't got the same amount of fuel the same amount of performance. Again, there are a couple of cons. Results don't come as fast. So when you're in a slow fat loss period, when you're in a slow deficit, you're not going to be able to see the changes as quickly as if you were in a faster fat loss phase. What happens is when people don't see results, they start to lose the motivation starts going down, the discipline goes down, and then they're back to square one again. You can also accumulate a lot of diet fatigue. Now, diet fatigue is something that we associate with tiredness, struggling to get your words out, feelings of lethargy, issues within training, issues doing daily tasks, issues with concentration. When you're in a slower weight loss period, you will be dieting for an extended period of time. What that means is that you are more prone to getting diet fatigue, but it will creep up on you because you are doing it for an extended period of time. So by the time you realize that you have diet fatigue, it may be too late to account for that fatigue and shuffle it back to help your body get better. There are also some metabolic adaptations that are coming with a slower fat loss phase. Your body gets used to being on those certain calories, so it preserves what calories it can to help you survive. Remember, your body is optimized for survival. That is it. Next, we have fast weight loss. Now, the pros with fast weight loss are obviously quick changes. You're able to see the changes in your physique far quicker. It finishes quicker because you are able to get to the goal where you're able to get to in a shorter period of time. And also the changes can help with motivation. You see the change coming, you're more motivated to be able to say, right, okay, let's keep going for this next pound, let's keep going for this next weight loss goal. Cons. The issues with faster fat loss is that it can be really demanding. Remember, because you're trying to lose weight faster means that the calorie deficit will have to be greater. What this means is that hunger levels will be higher and you will come into contact with the issues surrounding hunger levels and come into contact with the issues surrounding discipline at a far quicker rate than you would with a slower fat loss. Poor recovery. Now, this regards to training. When you're training and you have a limited amount of fuel in your system for your body to be able to continue with just its normal bodily functions, it is not going to be considering recovering from the training you have already done. This is why it's so important that when you're in a fat loss phase, especially when it's a greater deficit and you don't have as much fuel coming in. You are more focused on maintaining what you currently have rather than trying to increase what you currently have. And finally, requires a higher amount of discipline. Now, how many of us, myself included, have seen all these secret diets, all these kind of diets that you can do to help you lose weight? It doesn't exist. Ultimately, every single diet that comes out is based on a calorie deficit. It doesn't matter if it fits your macros approach, a Mediterranean approach, keto, Slimming World, Weight Watchers. All diets have their pros and cons. You just need to find the one that works for you. Ultimately, it boils down to a calorie deficit. So let's bust some myths whilst we're here. Fat burning supplements, diet pills, juices, fat burners. You probably heard of loads more. No. They work on increasing the calories you burn, and that's done through caffeine. Toning equipment, abdominal vibrating equipment, weird core equipment, thigh toners, you name it. You see them advertised on TV all the time. No. They aren't going to do anything at all. They don't magically cause fat loss. You may have also heard you want cardio to lose body fat and weights to tone it up. No. Calorie deficit is what you need to lose weight. You want to use weights, resistance training to preserve the muscle mass you already have. What happens is when people do too much cardio, even though they are burning calories, the majority of the weight they are losing is muscle mass, and that's due to what's called catabolism. We want to use weights in order to preserve the muscle we have, so that when we get down to the weight we want to get to, the body fat levels we want to get to, we have a nice toned appearance. So what does it take to really lose body fat? It takes time, it takes patience, it takes consistency. Remember, your fat loss journey will stall at some point, but just keep swimming. The issue people have with fat loss, especially even when they're in a faster fat loss phase, when they're trying to lose weight far quicker, is that they want results to happen like that. It didn't take you 6 days to get to where you are, so it's not going to take you 6 days or 6 hours to get to where you want to get to. Overall, it's going to take time, it's going to take patience and consistency in order for you to achieve the physique you want to achieve. That's the end of the webinar, guys. Hope you found it insightful. Remember to subscribe to all of these social media tags. And if you have any questions regarding the webinar or any questions of how I can help you achieve your goals, make sure you hit me up. See you later.